Yeah, I think that there's a lot of schools of thought that work, and so that you have to meet guys where they're at, and you have to find what matches for them. If you hand, if a man needs to do a job and he needs a hammer, and you hand him a screwdriver, we're probably in trouble. So, we're trying to match the tool for the actual athlete and what ticks with him or what resonates with him. So.
What do you think guys have maybe gotten out of this camp? It seems like you've been, again, along that individual line of breaking them into groups. What's sort of the overarching theme of what you think guys are getting out of this camp?
Yeah, the concept of this whole off season was just to try to find kind of like the low-hanging fruit for each guy. Like, so let's identify where can this guy get better, and the biggest window where guys are a lot of times most comfortable to make adjustments is the off season, because in season they're worried about getting outs and keeping their job. So, I mean, being real about it, like there's a lot on their mind, and it's like if you go up to them like, hey, let's tweak this, they're like, no. So the off season is a great time to adjust, and so what we did, we tried to identify, and as we began to identify, we noticed like there were some common themes. So what we did is we actually kind of made emphasis groups or buckets per se. We made 5 of those, and so what we did is we pushed guys into that, and then we tailored the plan to each bucket. So there's a general skeleton, but inside that general skeleton, there's pathways for each of the 5. And so we began to do that to try to address where we thought they could have success.
How much overlap is between those buckets? Like someone in pitch design, how much is that going to be compared to someone in body movement? Or
there actually is a good bit. We believe that if your body moves well, we're probably going to be in a better place at release. And if your body moves well, you're going to have better feel. And so there's a lot of overlap, especially in body movement per se, because like each group, if you watch each of them train, you'll see body movement be an element of it. The reason we have a body movement group is we identify the deficiency in that person and said, okay, this is something we need to really address, either for performance or a health reason.
Josh, we talked to guys that, we heard some examples of like the control group and the velocity group, what they're doing, the body movement group, the pitch shaping group.
I'm sorry, guys. I forgot
You want
to
to
turn it off.
The pitch shaping group, what are some of the things they're working on? What's the goal there? How in this setting do you take a pitch, I don't know, slider, curveball, whatever, and like drill down into making that better?
Yeah, so the pitch design group is a group. What we're trying to do is we identify that, okay, hey, these play well, we need a complementary piece. And what we try to do is we try to identify their unicorn, the thing that makes them stand out. And a lot of these guys will have a fastball that really plays, or like Luis Ortiz has a wipeout slider, and the fastball's not bad either. But Luis, to kind of maybe use an example, Luis, we noticed, the slider really plays. He creates tremendous spin on the fastball, but with the spin that he creates, the spin he was creating on the tilt he's creating it, the movement he's getting is not matching up. So the efficiency of the spin is not good enough. So what we did is we set out to clean up the efficiency of the spin to complement the piece he already had. So that the slider we know is really good, and if we can take and complement that with that fastball. So now everything, we start with his movement. Okay, hey, is there anything that we can put him in a better spot at release? So, yes, no,
yeah.
Okay, boom. And then now let's actually get edgertronic footage of release. How's the ball leaving our hand? How's the seam orientation? Is the seam orientation giving the ball a chance to carry out the flight that we want and get the movement we want?
there are a lot of kids who are 18, 19, 20 here that that's probably their introduction to it. How do you not overwhelm them whenever they see something like that?
That's actually a phenomenal question, because that's a real thing, and doing simple better is a big deal to us. And so how can we take and simplify it in as little words as possible, or simplify it where we go, hey, throw this softball, and we let the softball do the work, versus us verbally saying, hey, you need to fix this, or you need to fix this. We're trying to find ways to simplify the process through intrinsic learning, and then also through just the simplicity of even how we describe it.
You mentioned the unicorn, kind of finding the thing that guys do best. How do you and the staff kind of go about finding that, and what does that allow you to kind of work off from there?
Analytics plays a big role in that. Our analytics team has been tremendous for us. They're both actually here this week and have been here for that. And then also some of our elder statesmen in our analytics have even come down and joined those two. And so when for us, we start identifying for what the hitter tells us. Like the hitter's the best test. Like, if you get a lot of swing and miss in zone with that pitch, that must be a pretty good pitch. So let's not screw that up. And so we start there, and from there we work backwards out of it. We want to know the strike levels and how efficient and how productive we are with it. But then also now we start looking at the movement profile of, like, can we make that unicorn a little better? How do we complement it? But yeah, the hitter is first and foremost who tells us, because the name of this game is still to get outs.
Right.
So if we can get swing and miss in zone, then that's a good place to start.
Josh, I'm guessing you were aware of the perception of the Pirates whenever you took this job. I mean, the Tyler Glasnow effect and making guys, I don't know, factory pit, making them all do one thing, and it seems like that's the exact opposite of what you guys are doing now. But like, how much do you feel like this pitching program has moved on from those days of, where you're seeing guys go to other teams to figure it out?
I wouldn't say I was that aware of it, but you guys have made me a little more aware of it in the last year. For me, I think, at least in my experience, I like to see people at face value, and so I came in with, okay, where are we, and what's been laid, and when you looked around, there was a really good foundation as far as building men, building baseball players, and building trust that was neat, because, like, the players, there was a trust there that was good. And so now what do you do to build on top of that? And so one of the ways that we've tried to build on top of that is exactly kind of what we talked about before, is like, let's identify what you do well, and then let's magnify that. And so that's where the independent pieces come into play more, is for the fact that, like, I mean, you can look at a lot of different avenues, and there's a lot of different training facilities and plans out there that they're like, our way's the best, and the fact is that if their way was the only way, then only their school of thought would be having success. Well, when you see that that's not the case, then hey, we need to be flexible, and we need to meet them where they're at, and have them take ownership over their own career, because it is their career, but let's be the guardrails that make sure they're going in the right direction.
I wanted to ask or build off of the facilities a little bit here, because almost everyone during the offseason, or if they didn't have one, before COVID times, they have a place now where they could, advance, and they all have,
right,
or Episodo, probably an Edgertronic, something like that. How do you balance something that, this guy comes in and, this is actually a good idea, let's, try to evolve your pitch like that, versus, oh God, why are you doing that? I mean, there's, I guess, that variable also, that it could just be
balance in their facility, what they're learning at the facility, versus
yes,
what we want.
Because
done.
It could be potentially a really good or really bad idea that they're bringing in.
Yes, this is true, and so that's fair to say. For us, it's communication. You start with the relationships, and if the relationship's good enough, then you can build trust and you can have honest conversation. Even if it's not a fun one, you can have real conversation. And it's not perfect. We know we're not getting it completely right, but we're trying to minimize our error for sure, and say, hey, okay, we're sending this program out. How much of this are you following to a T, and how much are you blending other things, or are you completely doing your own thing? And if you are, it's your career, but we need an honest conversation so that we can plan accordingly. And so, and if there's something that you want to address or work on, tell us, because we're open to it. It's almost like we call it, what's in the magic, what's in the magician's hat. Like, pull the rabbit out, show me what you've been working on. That because every guy, down the sideline, hey, check this slider out, and then when you come down there, you're like, hey, was that slider? No. Like, we want honest conversation, so that sometimes some of the best pitches are made that way, you know. So everybody has some type of knowledge they can pass on to you. It's our job to try to help them filter it.